Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil. Good evening. It's Ghana Tonight here on TV3. I'm Keminni Amanor. Our top stories. Easter festivities kickstart with the symbolic death of Christ, but the night is still young for many revelers in Kwahu, the hub of Easter celebration. Tonight, a new study reveals the secret behind Kwahu Easter numbers. Now, as we mark this somber period with a lot of merrymaking, tonight we put the spotlight on your safety and security. A 100 days into the John Mahama administration, still no state of emergency in Galamsey-ridden communities. Tonight, what the government or the environment advocates are saying as we look back at President John Dramani Mahama's fight against illegal mining these last 100 days. We're live on TV3. We're also live on 3news.com, on x.com. We're streaming live on Facebook as well. Find us on YouTube if that's your poison. And join us with your comments. Use the hashtag Ghana Tonight. Now we can settle for Ghana Brief.
Deputy Director in charge of operations at the presidency, Mustafa Gbandi, says both the Electoral Commission Chair and Chief Justice will be removed from office. According to him, their removal will constitute a critical aspect of purging state institutions of political elements to engender trust in Ghana's populace. The Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress said more petitions are expected against the Chief Justice.
We haven't amended our laws. The same laws give President Akufo-Addo the right to remove the Charlotte Osei. They are all independent institutions. She removed her. We have come not just repeating precedents, but to deal with everyone on case-by-case basis. The Chief Justice would have to go. The Electoral Commission chairperson and other politically exposed directors would have to go, and indeed they will go. It's just a matter of time, so that we can fill those places with persons who are not politically exposed.
The Asogli State Council in the Volta region has destooled Togbe Afiacho III, Mankrado of Ho Bankwe, citing him for constant misconduct and disrespect of the overlord of the area, Togbe Apetha XIV. The decision was officially announced Thursday, the 17th of April 2025 at the Asogli State Palace in Ho, where traditional rites were performed to signify his destoolement.
Assume the powers to himself that he is the overlord or the tutor, as we say in Ebe, of Ho. So Togbe Apetha the Agbogbo Efia is under him. Anything that Togbe wants to do, Togbe should seek clearance from him before he goes ahead to perform his duties. This thing came to the notice of the elders in the town. They tried to caution him, but in fact he has got wayward.
President John Dramani Mahama is asking the church, communities and government to work together in the quest to make Ghana rise from its current economic woes. Speaking at the Good Friday Miracle Service of the Lighthouse Chapel International, The president expressed confidence that with a united front, Ghana will rise again.
I believe with all my heart that our dear nation Ghana shall rise again. Our economy shall recover. Our youth will find opportunity. Our families will flourish and thrive. But that restoration will require that all of us, government, churches, businesses, communities, work together in unity and in truth.
As the annual Kwahu Easter Festival kicks into full gear, the Ghana Tourism Authority aims to increase flights from 138 last year to 200 this year on the iconic Ojiaruma mountain. More women are conquering their fears to enjoy the breathtaking experience of soaring through the clouds above the scenic Kwahu landscape.
So I'm hoping to see the town from above. I can't wait to have that stomach-churning experience, and I think it's going to be amazing.
It was a nice experience. I wasn't shaking anyway. I wanted to do it, so I came and I went and I conquered.
Thinking of the adrenaline rush will come with how the view from above as well, and I'm hoping it's very safe.
The Kwahu Business Forum is set to kick off tomorrow with the ambitious goal of transforming 100 private businesses. Organizers of the event are optimistic about creating a platform for meaningful dialogue and collaboration between financial institutions and business owners. The forum, to be opened by President John Mahama, is expected to serve as a catalyst for innovation and economic empowerment within the private sector.
For you. Remember, you can be a part of the show with your comments, questions, and thoughts using the hashtag Ghana Tonight. Now, let's get into a very first story. 100 days of a fight against Galamsey. How has the president fared so far? Let's find out. Tonight, Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency is patting President John Dramani Mahama on the back for all the government's efforts towards sustaining the fight against illegal mining, a phenomenon that is pillaging the environment and threatening our very existence. When I sat down with him, with Mustafa Gbandi, to be specific, for this week's edition of Hot Issues, I asked him why the government is yet to declare a state of emergency in Galamsey-ridden areas. This is what he had to say. Considering in the lead up to the 2024 elections, there were widespread call for a declaration of a state of emergency, some of which came from members of your party. When you came into office over the 100 days that you spent so far, why was it so difficult to declare a state of emergency?
State of emergency at where?
A state of emergency as far as the mining areas are concerned.
No, you can't declare a state of emergency because the various installations and processes available to combat this are very viable. All we need is the will, the collaboration to get it going. When you declare a state of emergency, it's not, people talk as if they understand what exactly the implication of state of emergency. It's not done like that. You go and impose a state of emergency and you are expecting foreigners to come to your country and come and invest.
Then why were we calling on the previous government?
I never called on President Akufo-Addo.
But members of your party did.
I don't know who called for it. Maybe the person's understanding of state of emergency. Look, what you are seeing is a calculated, deliberate policy direction of the government to deal with this canker without having to target political individuals. All right? I would be expecting in the coming days MPP to commit to the government their collaboration for all of us to deal with this thing head on, so that it is not seen as a witch hunt or seen as trying to deprive one party's people from mining. Like I said, all of us are guilty of illegal mining. All of us.
I see.
From MPP, NDC, PPP, lawyers, judges, pastors, prophets, everybody is involved. We have to then, and government is showing the lead. It is not the same as 8 years.
I see.
No,
we get that point.
So you agree that 8 years it was a priority of government
8 years is a longer period.
No, to promote illegal mining. You agree with me?
No, I do not agree. I do not agree with you.
Well,
and the reason I do not agree with you, just to clarify for our viewers, is because we know on record from the CSIR that indeed during the first administration of President Kwahu, there were changes in the way the environment reacted to operations to combat illegal mining.
Yes.
Post the 2016 election going into the second term, that is when we saw things decline. So if you say the entire 8 years,
how did it decline? What data are you referring to?
I'm referring to data from the CSIR.
That they have shown that post-December 7th.
No, that in the lead up to the 2020 elections, and after that, we saw a decline.
But during the baseline data you are referring to would definitely make reference to 2020 to 2024 and above. So I'm saying that post-December 7th, what has been the data?
No, we're having... Well, more of that interview on Sunday at 2 p.m. here on TV3. Now, Mustafa Gbande also highlights in that interview government efforts so far 100 days into the administration, including the unfulfilled promise of implementing a ban on mining in forest reserves. Now, in similar fashion, Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson called on the Western Central Police Command to recommit to fighting illegal mining, Galamsey, that is, without compromise.
Because ultimately, it will come to hurt all of us. And it's already hurting. The diseases and, all the negative effect that this menace is wreaking on our lives. You may not be directly engaged, with the effect of this distraction. Perhaps you don't live in a Hianwa, you don't live in all of these places where the water bodies have been destroyed, and certainly you don't drink from them. And so, the question is, should you care? Today, our food security as a country is in serious danger. The very land that we used to devote to the planting of cassava and the basic food stock that we grow. I mean, today, as you drive around, do you see cassava farms? It's terrible. Our hearts must bleed when we see these things. And that is why when I hear that, some of you are compromised, you go there. Just this evening when I was coming, somebody called. Now these days the police come, every site they are taking 3,000, they are taking 2,000. I'm like, it may not be true, but Commander, some of them are also very true. Money is good, but if it is end well, it's even more refreshing.
Joseph Nelson there, he's Western Region Minister. Now let's put all of these through the figurative litmus test. Awolai Sewa is National Coordinator for Eco-Conscious Citizens. She's joining us for a bit more on this. Awolai, good evening to you. But 100 days in, are you of the opinion that the new government has sustained the fight against Galamsey? How effective will you say it has been?
Well, I mean, they are making efforts, but I think we can all see that there's a lot of work to be done. We still have our forest reserves with environmental terrorists. Nothing much has changed in the sense that our forest reserves are still filled with environmental terrorists. Our forests are still being decimated. Our water is still being poisoned. Our landscape is still being destroyed. So there isn't much that we can see. And we are, I have to say, very disappointed that although the president said he would repeal LI 2462, that has not been done. What is before Parliament is an amendment, which we say does not cut it. we need that law to be completely done away with, to be dropped. So in fact, there's a hashtag trending, hashtag drop LI 2462, revoke, not amend.
Indeed, absolutely crucial. But we also have seen a number of efforts. You alluded to Blue Water Initiative. We know also some of the deployment of security personnel to these areas, the task forces that have been formed as well. That's enough, isn't it?
First of all, let's be absolutely clear. What exactly do we want the Blue Water Guards to do? If they were to go to the water bodies and the environmental terrorists are armed, what exactly are they going to do? If we want to know the state of our water bodies, we already have the information. Journalists like Erastus Asaredonkov sent reports. We know, for example, that the River Akombra has been diverted. We don't need the Blue Water Guards to tell us. We already have that information. What has been done about it? As far as I'm aware, nothing has been done. A lot of our rivers have been diverted. We have the information. We are not doing anything about it. So I'm struggling to understand what difference it will make if we get that information from the Blue Water Guards. And then what we have asked for is for a state of emergency to be declared so that you can go systematically using your Air Force, your Army, your Navy, systematically to the forest reserves and the our water bodies and landscape. You don't want to declare a state of emergency, so be it. All we are asking for is that you have a well-equipped army, which has done its recce, strategically going to our forest reserves one by one, removing the environmental terrorists and also removing their equipment without any political interference. You see, it's a very serious situation we're in. Look at the Subri Forest Reserve, for instance. A recce was done. They thought there were 2,000 people there. Astonishingly, there were 10,000 people there. It could have been a catastrophe if they had been fully armed. But we should ask ourselves, if we're a sovereign state and you have your forest full of 10,000 people with their own criminal activity going on, from illegal mining to, we are told, trafficking of women, prostitution, and so on and so forth, and we are not aware, then this is very serious. If Boko Haram were there, would we know? And let's all remember that what is happening in some Latin American countries where the drug cartels control parts of the country did not start overnight. It started like it started in Ghana, and the necessary action wasn't taken. It is for this reason that we are saying that the window of opportunity to act is closing. You need to act now. Go to the forest reserves, call it whatever you like. You don't want to call it a state of emergency, so be it. But it needs to be strategic, well-planned, no political interference. Let the professionals do their job and rid us of the environmental terrorists who are destroying Ghana, poisoning our water bodies, and decimating our forests. And even the food we are eating now, it's contaminated. And let me be absolutely clear here. If those of us in Accra think it's not affecting us, we should think again. Ghana water doesn't remove the toxins from the water. And we know that mercury, cyanide don't have a color. So if your water is looking nice and transparent, it doesn't mean that there's no mercury in it. Let's be absolutely clear. We don't know as a fact that our drinking water is safe as a consequence of illegal mining.
Right.
There are food security concerns. Our tubers, we are informed that were taken to the US a while back, were found to contain mercury. So do we know what we are actually ingesting? It's not just in the Galamsey areas that there's a rise in kidney disease, maternal deaths, deformed babies. Let's be clear that it's affecting all of us, or it will affect all of us.
Indeed.
So
on the subject of declaring a state of emergency, particularly in these areas, we heard from the Director of Operations, who's given reasons why it cannot be done at this time. But for a party that joined the public to demand of the previous administration that a state of emergency be declared, to come into office only to be given reasons why it cannot be done, what do you make of that?
See, people had always said that the reason why illegal mining was thriving was that there were actors on both sides of the political divide, and that was why it was thriving. We all heard about Professor Frimpong Boateng's report, but we also know that it's, the illegal mining is going on, we are informed, on both sides of the political divide. So yes, the president, whilst in opposition, told us that there were certain things he would do, such as revoking LI 2462. He has come to power with an overwhelming majority. And we don't want to see that goodwill dissipating. But I'm afraid Ghanaians are getting impatient. What was important to him, like e-levy and the betting tax, they have been done away with. But let's ask ourselves, what is more important, clean water or e-levy? If we have to choose between illegal mining being done away with and e-levy, I think we'll all say that we prefer not to be poisoned. But as it is, I'm not sure what is going on. Some of the forest reserves we were told had been reclaimed. Those were the very forest reserves that the forestry staff were attacked, and one was left fighting for his life. And let me say here that we need to protect the forestry staff. They put their lives on the line. Journalists put their lives on the line to try and safeguard our environment and our forests. And we are just making pronouncements which sometimes don't stand scrutiny. So we are saying that His Excellency the President has an overwhelming majority. It's unfortunate that certain things were said whilst in opposition. And now that we're in government, we seem to be dragging our feet. But I keep on saying that we are being poisoned. Our water is not safe. Our food is not safe. In addition, our exports are not safe. Very soon, they might refuse to take our cocoa. We are destroying our rubber plantations. And to add to it all, national security concerns. You have 10,000 people in the forest you do not know. You have armed environmental terrorists guarding some of the forest reserves they are in. We really need to take serious action now. The countries in Latin America where the drug cartels control so many parts of the country, it didn't start overnight. But instead of taking the bull by its horns, the authorities were dilly-dallying, and this is the result they have now. So we don't want the same thing to happen to Ghana. We don't want a catastrophe. That's why we are appealing to His Excellency the President to ensure that the right steps are taken to rid all our forest reserves of the environmental terrorists, our landscape, our water bodies. We need to act now. We need to act now.
Very well.
Put political considerations aside. He has only one term. He cannot be re-elected, and he needs to show Ghanaians that they took the right decision in electing him as our president.
Very well. We're also hearing of a new recommendation, to fight illegal mining in this country. The chairman of the Select Committee on Lands and Natural Resources is recommending that we have a military unit in the task force, a military unit in our forest reserves, very much, in agreement with something that you have said earlier. But will that work?
Forest reserves. There needs to be the situation where, first of all, in all the areas, you have your district, you have your political authority, you have the police command, you have a national security council. What are they doing if they don't see movements going on? Now, by all your forest reserves, you need to have a number where if there's any movement into our forest reserves, the community must understand that this affects them. Their death warrant is being signed by the illegal activities going on, the irresponsible mining. Their water bodies, some of them is their only source of water, is being poisoned. Their food crops are being poisoned, so that they can notify the rapid response team when the illegal miners return. We are told that even in the latest forest reserve that the task force went to, they were returning the very next day. And you can be stationed there, but can you be stationed there forever? So you need to put systems in place so that they cannot return. And if they return, the police command nearby needs to be held accountable, because if you are doing your work well, how are these people able to go there with their equipment and nobody notices it? So yes, we need to make sure that we can protect our forest reserves, and we need to have a rapid response team. Now, once you call a number, within a very short time, they can come and deal with the environmental terrorists if they return. So the first step is to clear the area of the environmental terrorists, and then to ensure that they do not come back.
I see. I want us to take a listen to Collins Dowda during his visit to the Ahafo South mine of Newmont, Africa, when he made some of these comments. Let's take a listen. We'll come back to you.
Like rivers, where you have people mining directly in the bed of rivers. We cannot accept it. illegal operators who enter our forest reserves to mine illegally, that cannot be acceptable. We have to deal with such characters. And to deal with it, my view is that we can have a unit of the military, deploy them to be permanently around the river bodies, permanently stationed in the forest reserves. Nobody would dare do it. But the practice where, when we hear there is an illegal operation in Tanofin Forest Reserve, and we deploy a task force, they go in there for a number of days, they hide. When the task force leaves, they go back to the side. You can never resolve this matter this way. That, for me, I describe as a knee-jerk reaction to solving a problem. So it's on that basis that I suggest that we can have a unit of the military to deal with this canker.
We just heard from the Honorable Member of Parliament, Collins Dauda, who himself, is a former Lands and Natural Resources Minister. Today he sits on the Parliamentary Committee on Lands and Natural Resources as chairman. But I would like, as part of that, the recommendations he makes during that visit, he also talks about, the fight against Galamsey being a public fight, a fight for everybody, not just government. And he goes on to call on stakeholders to be a part of that. Is he making the call on the wrong set of people, would you say?
Absolutely. And let's face it. I mean, what are the rest of us going to do? What the media has done, they've raised awareness about what is going on. And right now, it's for the government to act. We are not armed. If we are going to the forest reserves, what are we going to do there? To be shot? To be beaten, as was the case of Erasasare Donko, who was beaten up. You had Tewia Ohimen, who was left fighting for his life. So let's be realistic. Everybody has a role to play, but the armed forces, the security have to play their role. We are civilians, we are not armed. There's not much we can do apart from raising our voices and trying to work with government to do the right thing. We need to have education. We need Ghanaians to understand that they are being poisoned. This is not a situation where we can just sit around like it doesn't affect me because I don't live in the Galamsey areas. It affects all of us. So what I'm saying is that everybody has a role to play. And the role that the government has to play, with the president being the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, is to do what needs to be done to ensure that the armed forces, the Navy, and the Air Force work together to remove the environmental terrorists from our landscape, our forest reserves, and our water bodies.
Appreciate you talking to us. Thank you so much. Awula Sewa is an environmentalist. She's an advocate for the environment, ending our conversation on Galamsey tonight. But tonight is Good Friday. It kickstarts the Easter festivities in this country. I will take you to the hub of Easter celebrations of bombing in Kwahu in a bit. But the big question for you is, how safe are you this long weekend? Well, I know one thing. Wherever you are or however you're spending Good Friday and this long weekend, Ghana Police Service sends a quick reminder to ensure your safety while they do their part to ensure your security. I want to show you excerpts from a statement from the police in the last few hours of the day, where they wish us a very happy Easter, but also encourage us to keep our surroundings safe and be alert. From the statement, the police wished us, the general public, assuring us that there will be comprehensive security measures that are already in place nationwide to ensure a safe and peaceful 2025 Easter celebration. Officers have been deployed on roads and within communities to provide security for the Easter activities in all regions of the country. Perhaps you could tell me where you are and whether or not you see this visibility. But they also tell us special security arrangements have also been made within the Kwahu areas to cover the paragliding festival and other scheduled activities. Remember, I told you I will take you live to a bombing where all the live band and the goodness is happening, and you and I are not part at the moment, but that's okay. The police is also urging everyone to be security conscious, remain vigilant, and report any suspicious activity to the Ghana Police Service. So there you have it. The Ghana Police Service wanting you to take your own safety into your own hands while they play their part to provide you utmost security. Nanaya Akwada, Dr. Nanaya Akwada is Executive Director and Chief of Party of the Bureau of Public Safety. He's joining us for a bit more on this. Nana, good evening to you and happy Easter. Talk to us. Is Easter a high-risk period, considering how, quickly the police put together the statement?
Well, good evening to your viewers, and I'm happy to talk to you. I'm sorry I've been traveling in the last 2 days, and so I'm not too sure if my face is TV-friendly this night. Your question about whether Easter is a high-risk event. I think that anything that brings celebrations, anything that occasions events and the gathering of people, at central locations or at specific locations, are matters of public safety concern, or they must be matters of public safety concern for the police. Anything that brings people, back on the roads, a lot of people back on the roads, the police must show interest in it because there is a high risk, of course, looking at the history of road experience in our country. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that around this time we're running a high risk even on our roads. And so the statement of the police is a welcome, activity. But, the real deal is the target audience. Are they going to see this? The targeted audience, are they going to know this?
I see.
The targeted audience, will they get the chance to read this thing that the police has put out? And I think that's the most critical aspect we need to look at.
I see. And so let's look at that target, especially those who find themselves in Kwahu tonight and going forward this long weekend. What considerations should they be making for their own safety?
Well, first of all, we need to let people understand that in Ghana today, as the Bureau of Public Safety, deduced about 3 years ago, the most dangerous places to be in Ghana today is our roads. It's the one place that you are more likely to be involved in an incident, an undesired incident, than anywhere. So first of all, we need to be extra cautious on our roads. We live in a country where we don't regard road safety rules. Okay, we have mandatory stop signs, and yet nobody really ever stops at those signs. We have no overtaking lanes, and yet nobody really pays heed to it. We have police on the road who, instead of doing their job, for the most part, are just, handshaking, motorists, and nothing really gets done. So it's important that as road users, we are conscious of this, that our safety is in our own hands. There is a driver that is coming whose vehicle is overwhelmed with load. He has passed through 3-4 police checks and they have not stopped him. So you must be wary of that driver. There is a driver that has been over speeding in the last 2 hours on the roads, and the police have not been able to apprehend him because one, nobody has reported him, or because two, he may have handshaking the police officers, and they're still on the road perpetrating this criminal activity. So you, as a road user, you must be wary of characters like these on the road and drive safely. Make sure at any point in time you know which car is behind you, which car is ahead of you, and where the next oncoming vehicle is approaching you from. Having a good understanding of your environment comes in handy when you have to make sudden, when you have to make or you need to make sudden or immediate decisions. You are able to decide wisely where to go. You must also be careful of pedestrians because in our country, once again, people cross roads at anywhere they can step their foot. There is no bound. So you must be minded that wherever you drive, someone from nowhere can jump in the street. So you must maintain a high level of alertness whilst driving. Secondly, I'm moving to another category for the police. Wherever there is, a group of people where people are partying, remember that wherever people are partying, a lot of stupid things happen there. And our police response time to date we have not been able to determine our police response time by region. We don't know how much time it takes the police in Greater Accra to respond to crisis calls. We don't know how much time it takes in Ashanti region and elsewhere. Okay, so whenever you find yourself partying as well, you must at all point in time de-escalate matters that can quickly degenerate into violence, because it will take the police a lot of time to show up. And if you are not careful, by the time they show up, you've lost what you don't need to lose. So either you move away from violence, you de-escalate violence and walk away. Say wise people always walk away from fights, because in this country, by the time the police will get there, you may be bleeding to death. So let's de-escalate issues and walk away from fights at these parties where there is alcohol, drugs, and women and men. So it's very, very important that we pay attention to this. Lastly, around this time where everything will be moving so fast, is also the time that fraudsters, apply their trade a lot. This is the time where they will be sending you messages about Easter promos and things that may compromise your phone. You may become a victim of blackmailing. They will have access to your media files because you saw Shell Ghana or Melcom Ghana or something was doing promotion, and just click this link to get some 50% or get free airtime, or MTN is doing something, click on this, and before you realize your phone is tapped, someone sitting somewhere has access to all your pictures and your videos, and God forbid if you have news in there, you are done. Or they can have access to your very important data, your birth date, your Ghana card number, and other things. So around this time, indeed, is a time that we need to be conscious. And some of these things are everyday things. And we always say that safety is not a cake for a special occasion, but is bread for daily use. So we must be guided by this maxim as we move on through the Easter festivities.
Doc, I mean, in a minute, and that's all the time I have, has nothing to do with the importance of what I'm about to ask you. But what special precautions would you expect women to take this period, particularly those who are part of the reveling crowd in Kwahu?
Well, I think what Grandma told all of us was that we should always try and move in groups. That's one. We should avoid strangers. That's two. And in modern times, let's be careful when we are, especially drinks that we do not know the source, drinks that were not opened in front of us. I think those are very key things that we should be minded of. We should not women especially should not be accepting lifts from, strangers or people they do not know or people they know very, very casually at some of these events, so that they do not fall, prey to some wicked people. Very, very important. Let's always remember what Grandma told us. Let's move in groups, avoid strangers, do not accept lifts from persons you don't know. Do not go to a secondary location with anybody you have just met. It is key. And if you don't listen to all of this and you fall a victim to kidnapping, make sure whatever happens, you fight your way out. Do not allow people to take you to a secondary location. Fight, shout, scream. Make sure that they do not transport you to a secondary location. Because at that secondary location, they are not going to give you cake and Fanta. You might come up a different person altogether, even if you come out at all. So it's very key for our women to, be minded
Indeed,
about
Doc,
these tips.
that's all the time I have for our conversation tonight. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Lieutenant Naya Akwada is a public safety expert. But we are still on the Easter festivities, particularly in Kwahu. Remember, I told you that I will take you live to a bombing. Take a listen.
I am the first time I'm ever have been Easter. When you went to buy a excitement, I am very awesome. Many I can't lose to be coming here each and every year. I'm here for year. But here I also have a you cannot pass it. So but here I am. Very safe.
Well, that could have been you, but you chose to stay in Accra, maybe for good reason. But a somber reflection on the death of Christ by day and much needed break from the drudgeries of life by night. And when we come back, I'll take you live to a bombing in Kwahu. Welcome back. Now, tonight, revelers have taken over Kwahu as is done every Easter, except this time in large numbers. The Eastern region location has made a name for itself as a place to be to mark the death and resurrection of the Christian God, Jesus Christ. Earlier, our correspondent reported the iconic Kojianoma Mountain will host 200 paragliding flights instead of 138 done last year as part of government efforts to expand activities in Kwahu and increase tourist numbers there. But the scenic view from the mountain is not the only reason Kwahu is endearing. Yvonne Nikwe is joining us live from Kwahu with a bit more on this the story. Yvonne, good evening to you. Tell us where you are and what's happening there.
You are currently at a woman and the heart of the activity. Night celebration of what currently at the street carnival. What they hundreds of youth on the streets. 5 days, making having fun, dancing their hearts off as one family united as they are Indian and family friends who have come to join them in this area. This night has just started, and so a big number of them going out and enjoying themselves.
We did not hear or understand a word of what you said because your microphone is really far from your voice or your lips. And so if you could adjust that for us, we'll hear you. In the meantime, let's take a listen to some of the revelers from Abome.
So good. I was here yesterday, and I think yesterday we started the day well, and today too is ongoing, but we are expecting more because we all know that if it's Easter, it's cold, and we are all here to experience that magic of Kwahu. So we want to see more of our things being patronized by the people that are here, and we also hope to socialize and get more new friends and boost our business and also get more customers and expand the horizon of our business.
Indeed, Kwahu and nail bombing. And that is where Yvonne Nikwe is joining us from. Yvonne, you were telling us earlier about a bombing and how, the lights are so bright over there right now. And everything is making me hungry and angry that I'm not in a bombing at the moment. Talk to us about activities there.
The number of people mainly on my birthday, that's why you particular area of the but being useful and everywhere with a lot of shopping on the street. I think among them because of that state and very big as the that started. I just go that thing on the street.
Really close, Yvonne. You keep safe over there. We see there's a lot going on in your background. The flashing lights of vehicles. We see the security there as well. The police has already informed us that they will be on ground there in a bombing that will most likely not sleep for the next 3 or 4 days of Easter activities in this country. But give us a sense of what it feels like with security, the informal economy there. And I want to show you bits and pieces of this research because, listen, it reveals a number of things, some of which we already know. So, of course, it won't be a revelation. But the revelation is the fact that people say they go there for pleasure. So from the top of the study conducted by Dr. Kate J.C., a lecturer at the University of Education, Winneba, she tries to understand from people why they go to Kwahu during Easter in their numbers. 77% of her respondents say it's for the image, 90% said it's for the socialization. 50.8% responded that it's for the culture, to see the cultural exchange. And some are even worried about the commercialization of the Kwahu Easter festivities there. And then 70% just to enjoy themselves. We're there for the entertainment. Like, I wonder why that is only 70%. Because I would think that is why everybody will want to go to Kwahu during the Easter. I would want to go to Kwahu during the Easter to enjoy myself. But the excuse me. The challenges that the tourists face going to Kwahu, they say 30% say that it's too high. The roads, 25% also said that the roads are bad. And for 15%, their response was the power and water issues in Kwahu. Those are the challenges that they face. But for a lot of revelers, you can understand why only 15% will say that water challenges are the only things that they face in Kwahu. When you're enjoying yourself, it would appear that water isn't the problem. Let's bring on Dr. KJC now, who conducted the study of Kwahu Easter festivities. Doc, good evening to you. But why Kwahu Easter Festival?
Yes, thank you so much. Good evening to everyone listening to TV3 at this moment. Yes, I'm interested in Kwahu Easter Festival. I have so many research on Kwahu Easter Festival. The reason being that there are so many festivals, but that festival stands unique. That festival is a type of hallmark event that Ghana Tourism Authority is strongly behind it and is trying to boost the area. You know, festival is one of the tourist products, cultural products, which when boosted well, it can be used to promote or can be used to increase tourist arrival here and promote more income for or revenue for the country, income for the people and revenue for the country. I'm interested in festivals because festivals are widely promoted as a hallmark event throughout the world. When we come to Africa, we have so many countries like Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, Burkina Faso. They have so many festivals which they have promoted to boost tourism development and to increase revenue to the country. So I decided to look at festival. And in Ghana, we have so many festivals, but the one that stands out and which has a touristic background is Kwahu Easter Festival. Kwahu Easter Festival, unlike other festivals, like Homo Walk, Abuatri, and the rest, is a festival which is unique and also that it comes with tourist products or touristic activities, like the introduction of paragliding. Paragliding activities was introduced in 2005. Since then, the festival has gained national and international
Your study identifies Sorry, I apologize. We're running out of time. I have to rush you on this one. More importantly, your study identifies pleasure as one of the biggest reasons people go to Kwahu. What kind of pleasure are we talking about?
There are so many motives. You know, tourists move to tourist sites based on their motives. Some go for education purposes. Some go for socialization. Some move to tourist sites to even trade. Some move to tourist sites to have friends, to have to relax, and also to have pleasure. The pleasure, I mean that, you know, our daily routine, work, and our busy schedules throughout the year and the race. During Kwahu Easter Festival, people go there to release the stress, to have pleasure, to have fun, to have entertainment, to enjoy themselves. Yes. You know, Kwahu Easter comes with so many activities, carnivals, street walk, and the race. So people go there to have, to release stress, to have pleasure, to entertain, to relax. Yes, that is what I mean by pleasure.
I see. How do you think, or what did your research show in terms of how the Easter festivities impact the local economy of Kwahu?
Yes, during my research, I came across it. Kwahu Easter Festival comes with economic gains. It comes with social benefits, and it comes with cultural benefits. Yes, the people reported that during the period, they get income, they get more money, and it's a time where their business also grows, or the time where their activities also go well. But during this time, the Easter, which used to have different meaning, now has changed. The motive of the Easter has changed now. The youth from all over the country, from all over the world, have come to the area to have all sorts of lifestyles, which the traditional authority is not happy about it. Even though the Kwahu Easter Festival provides the community or the area with money, because drivers get money.
Very well, Doc. We'll leave our conversation here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Dr. Kate JC there. She conducted that research. Visit 3news.com. You'll find more of her research there. And then you can read for yourself why people go there, the challenges they face, and how it impacts the local economy of Kwahu. In the meantime, it's Happy Easter from us here on Ghana Tonight. Remember to tune in tomorrow at 7 a.m. for Key Points. And then also, well, there you have it, the flyer for Key Points. There'll be a one-on-one with Nanapoku Bosompim, the Western Region Forestry Manager, obviously in relation to Galamsey. But there'll be the usual panel as well. Lawyer Martin Pebu, Professor Razford Jampo, Lawyer Eduji Tameklo. We also see Dr. Ken Ashigbe there, Senyo Hosi also there, and another panelist whom I cannot see clearly, unfortunately. I'll leave it at that. But once you watch Key Points on Saturday, join me on Sunday at 2 p.m. for that conversation, riveting conversation with the Director of Operations at the Presidency, Mustafa Gbandi. We talk all things 100 days. We put a 120-day social contract the NDC signed with the Ghanaian people into context, into perspective. You want to make time for that as well. Sunday, Hot Issues at 2 p.m. with me, Keminni Amanor. Happy Easter. Enjoy the long weekend. Keep safe and secure out there. Good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.